Welcome to the Moon Men podcast.
Does the moon actually possess such strange powers?
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Moonlight is thought to transform some people into strange creatures to drive others mad.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're certainly glad to be here tonight.
We choose to go to the moon.
5, 4,
We choose to go to the moon.
2, 1, 0.
Do you remember the episode of South Park where Mr. Garrison was trying to, he was trying to sound off, Devin. Sound off. You broke the number one rule.
We're not okay. We're starting, but we're not. I'm still setting up here.
Oh, it's okay. You can listen. When Mr. Garrison was trying to make gay marriage illegal.
No, I don't. Okay, there's a lot of South Park references that are coming. Is my mic on? Is it registering?
Yeah. Talk.
Hello. Don't talk. Hello. Okay, I'm good on there.
Well, we're sharing an audio track.
Huh? No, it's just popping up on the same one.
Oh.
Let me fix my shirt so it doesn't look like I have a big ass gut sticking out like this.
Oh.
No.
Are you calling me out? Then I already thought this is a bad idea. Look. Are you in frame?
I'm in frame. Are you? Yeah, you're in frame.
I'm definitely in frame. Are we too white? Am I too white?
You look white.
Should I close one of the blinds?
If you want. I mean, it's gonna get darker as we record.
That's true. We're doing
You could go ahead.
We're doing a 3-hour episode.
Huh?
Yeah.
Alright.
I told you about it. Oh, sorry.
You want to play with it afterwards?
Yeah. I need something in my hand. I get nervous around people.
Wait, what?
I get nervous around people. How many do you have?
Left?
Yeah.
5.
Mm.
When did I buy it?
Yesterday.
No. Imagine it comes with 15. I'm pretty sure I bought it a week ago. About a week ago.
So you finished 5 in about a week, or 15, or
I
10.
finished 10.
10. Yeah. Do you want to hear a joke?
Sure.
I don't know if I told you this joke already.
I guess we'll see off of my reaction.
But why? I think I did actually. Why did the computer get cold?
Why did the computer get cold?
Yeah.
Hold on. I know there's gonna be a computer twist. Don't look at me like that.
I'm waiting.
No idea why did it get cold.
Because it left its windows open.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing.
Why are you smiling?
I'm smiling because you're staring at me like a fucking idiot. I'm not laughing at that though.
Whatever. You insulted me.
Do you want to hear a joke?
Yeah, sure.
How do you turn a fruit into a vegetable?
AIDS.
Did I tell you that one already?
No, I just kind of threw a dart in the dark.
You must have heard me tell. Yeah, it's AIDS.
Oh,
AIDS.
okay.
That's a fucked up joke. If you guys don't ever say that joke to anybody, people. You hear me? Don't tell that joke to fucking anybody. But that's a good joke.
That is a good joke. That's a knee slapper if I ever heard one.
Now while I'm drinking water, man.
It's my turn to drink water.
Welcome back to the Moon Man podcast, people. I'm your host, Evan. That's your co-host, Eddie. We're doing the video again. Got a new camera this time. Testing it out. Trying to get the lay of the land here. I don't know how people do this, honestly.
Because they don't move the thing. How do you open it? Like, what arrows do you have to line up?
There's arrows on the bottom and there's arrows on the top. It's subtle because they don't want kids to be able to open
Oh,
it.
I see it. And what, they don't want Eddie to open it either? Because he's struggling over here.
Well, I guess it's Eddie proof too.
What happens if you drink all of them at once?
First off, you don't drink them.
Or whatever.
You put it in your gum. Second off, I have no idea. You would probably vomit. Because when you have way too much nicotine, like you'll just get dizzy. You'll start vomiting, that kind of shit. I'm not going to find out.
Fuck around.
Fuck no. I haven't even double dipped yet. Because the way I use them is so like chill that I haven't had the need to like double dip. Is when you essentially just put 2 packets in your gums.
What about 3? Is that triple dip?
Yeah, probably.
Or is that a threesome?
I don't know the lingo. I'm just getting into these.
I don't think you should.
It's just it's my alternative to vaping.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
You read that last time.
I did?
Yeah. You read that the last 2 times, actually. When we had the deep conversation, you were looking at it and you're a warning. This product contains nicotine. It's my alternative to vaping because I've been vaping for years. I've quit like 8 times.
Wait, I never asked that. How did you get into vaping?
The very first time was probably in middle school. Do you remember those hookah sticks that everybody would bring to school?
Yeah.
They were like green and then they had colors all down the side of them. I remember being obsessed with those in middle school and I wanted to try one. And so I found a plug. I found a kid who knew where to get some and he would only charge you like $5 for them.
These
right?
things?
Yeah. The one right here. I guess they're called Imperial. I'll put it up on the screen. These ones. The rainbow one right there in the middle. To the leftish.
This one with the red cap?
Yeah, with the red cap.
Okay.
Those ones. Everybody at our specific middle school wanted to try those ones. And I knew a kid who knew how to get some. Because he had one and he sold one to another kid. So he was the plug. And so he would get it to me very cheap too. It was like $5. And I remember being obsessed with it at the time because everybody wanted to try smoking at least once in their life.
Right.
Doesn't mean everybody actually does it. But I grew up around people who smoked. And I always saw it in the movies and I wanted to try it, but I didn't want to smoke a cigarette. So I paid him $5. He brought me one. And
$5? That's all you paid for?
Mm-hmm.
How much do they normally go for?
They're probably like $8 normally.
Oh, okay. He had to make it. Wait, he's losing money.
I don't know. He probably got them from somebody.
Oh, he probably stole them.
Or he stole them. Like he definitely he was like 12, 13. How is he getting them in the first place?
Right.
You know, so there's something shiesty about the whole thing. But all I knew was that I was getting a vape pen, right? But we called them hookah sticks. The one he brought me, I specifically told him, don't get me any nicotine. He goes, you don't want no nicotine? I was like, no. He's all kind of looking at me. I was like, I just want to be able to like smoke it. I was like, but I don't want to get addicted to nicotine, right? Because I thought I was being smart about it. I was like, I get to experience it, no nicotine, right? He's like, all right. So he got me one without nicotine. And I always thought that was funny, but I remember being addicted to the vape, the sensation of vaping. Like being able to like watch a movie, pull it out and like vape and smoke along with the movie, right? As like a little 12-year-old, I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool. In my little 12-year-old head. Because I was fucked up, Eddie. We both know I was fucked up.
You still are.
I'm still fucked up. But that
You
was
know what he did? No, I'm not going to tell him.
Wait, what? Oh, today? That's not fucked up.
No. Last week.
What I bleeped out?
Mm-hmm.
That section, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, go listen or watch Rob's episode. That section towards the end, there's a beep, right? There's just a random beep and then it switches back to the conversation. I tried editing it, right? Just so that like I could tell the story. And it got so heavily edited that I was like, I'm just going to cut this out. Because I was throwing up black squares on the screen to cover the motion that I was doing. Because I was describing it to you guys on the actions that I was doing. And then
I remember the actions.
Yeah. I'm not gonna duplicate it, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I had to bleep out the words I was saying. I had to bleep out some of the questions you guys were asking, and then I had to bleep out the actual reaction. So I'm like, at this point, there's like, it's not enjoyable, you know? I was like, I'm just gonna cut it out. Anyways, I was a fucked up kid. That was the same kid that was doing that, right? And he got me the vape, no nicotine, but I became addicted to the sensation of doing it and having it there and being able to use it. So afterwards, I thought about buying another one, but I didn't. And this is how I knew I was starting to turn into a crackhead, right? At that age, because I remember me and my friend were walking home from school. We decided to ditch school, so we just started walking home. and we both lived in the area relatively, not like you, but like we were walking back, and he said, "Oh wait, I think I have one of those pens," and he dug all the way to the bottom of his backpack, and he found one underneath like where all the dirt and scraps and paper are. Like he found one that was all old, and then he goes, "You want to hit it?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And I grabbed it and I hit it, and I thought about that after the fact, and I was like, "Damn, I didn't even think about it. I just grabbed it and ripped it." So, from middle school all the way to pretty much high school, I did an experiment with nicotine, nothing, right? Jets. I did an experiment with nicotine. Well, I did smoke one cigarette, but I hated the sensation. I never did it again, right?
When was that?
I was like 13. And I did experiment with weed, but I never got high back then because I guess I wasn't smoking it right, or it wasn't really weed. I don't know. So I just stopped. I was like, I'm experimenting with too much stuff. I'm not doing it in a safe way. I'm going to end up hurting myself. I'm going to stop. Didn't do anything all the way up until about junior year. Then at junior year, you know, you're 17. This is before they changed the law. About to be 18. Nobody really gives a shit anymore. So people are like offering it to you. It's coming up in conversation. And I'm pretty sure it was a family member. They were smoking a Black and Mild like cigar. And then they're like, "Oh, here, try it." And I was like, "Not 18. They're like, "You're going to be 18 soon. Like, you could try it." So I tried it and I got a tiny little buzz. And I was like, "Oh." And then a lot of people I knew at the time were starting to get into vaping, like 2017-ish. And so then one of our mutual friends, he actually had one of those blue disposable vape pens.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember me, him, and Mike were walking through our neighborhood at night. And then he offered it to me, and then I started hitting it, and I got like the best buzz of my life. The next day I went out and I bought like my own little disposable pen. But I didn't really like the disposables. So then I went and I got my own mod a few weeks down the line. You remember that one. And then from there, nicotine was pretty much always in my life at some point. Because from there, I was vaping for months. And then I remember me and Rob went to the park. And he was telling me, like, you need to quit, blah, blah, blah. It's bad for you.
He was having a AA meeting with you?
Kind of, because I was waiting for him, and I was sitting there, and I was vaping, and then I was all excited because I got this new flavor, and it tasted like E.G.'s pineapple. I was like, this is amazing. I was like, I love this flavor. And he was just kind of like, what are you doing? And so then I quit, but I didn't quit taking nicotine. So then right around that time, I found these things, the Zins, in high school. And then I remember trying them, and I liked them. I liked the sensation they gave me. And I also thought it was cool because I could use it in class and nobody would know. Even when I spit it out, it would just look like gum in the trash. So if anybody asked what I was spitting out, it was gum, right? So I used these for a little while, switched over to like cigars and smoking pipes for a couple of years. Was on and off with vaping, but pretty much ever since like high school or even middle school, nicotine and vaping and smoking has always been around. And so it wasn't until recent, I guess when we started the show, because I started to notice how much I coughed in our actual episodes and how much I had to clear my throat in the episodes. And I was like, my lungs might not be hurting yet, but it's getting to a point where like I'm starting to build up more phlegm and bacteria in like my body. And I was like, so I should probably consider quitting. So then I tried like 3 different times since we've had the show. Serious attempts too. But because of some outside influences, like it always came back. And so then I was like, obviously nicotine itself has a hold on me as of right now. So I'm going to wean off of vaping for a little while, switch over to these, and then eventually get to a point where I can drop these. But for the moment, my main goal is to just not vape, because I know a lot of people who vape. I fuck around with a lot of people who vape, you know, and my whole thing is just not vape. You know, like my boss vapes. My fucking, some of my family members vape or smoke. A lot of the people I have to deal with at work vape or smoke. And vaping culture is very similar to like smoking culture. It's very social. And so like you always kind of feel like you're being left out to some extent, which is a big reason why these habits become so addicting. But then they're always offering it to you too. You could walk up to a total stranger, ask them about their Hail Mary or their Geek Bar or whatever the fuck, right? And then they'll be like, oh, do you want to hit it? And then you're like, oh, yeah, sure. And then boom, you get a quick little buzz. And then, oh, fuck, now I want to vape again. So it's always there. And so to kind of control myself.
But didn't you vape like last week?
Yes. I didn't say it's an easy battle. But, okay, so one of my family members gave me their old vape. And I'm not going to lie, I hit it a couple times. But I was like, I mean, you could even see me in the episode hitting it. But I was like, I can't be vaping anymore. Plus, it was on the verge of burning out and dying. So I was like, I'm just going to stick with these things. They're cheaper overall, you know, because a lot of these newer brands, especially Zins, are getting expensive. But a lot of the newer ones will go for like $2 or $3 for like 20 pouches. Vapes now are like $20 to $25. They'll last you about 2 weeks, but $20 every 2 weeks. That's $40 a month, right? These, it comes out to like maybe $10 a month, depending on the brand you're going for and how often you use it. So what do they call these cans? A can will last me about a week because I only use like 2 or 3 a day.
So you're spending $40 a month on these.
No, I'm spending those I get for $4 at one of the shops near my house. So, okay, I guess it's like $20 a month. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you said these are $10.
16. No, the Zins are getting expensive. At like Circle K, for example, they're like almost $8 right now.
Oh, okay.
And then people will buy like 2 or 3 at a time.
But do you think the damage has already been done to your lungs?
So they actually did studies on that, and vaping will damage your lungs at some point. And I want to make that clear because a lot of vapors don't think that they're damaging their lungs because they probably seen that video where the guy put cotton in like the jar and then he put the vape in it and the cotton was fine afterwards. It'll damage your lungs, but it damages it like very slowly compared to cigarettes. And so that's why a lot of doctors will recommend just switch to vaping if you're already a heavy cigarette smoker and then eventually get to a point where you could quit vaping. So yeah, I probably have done some damage to my lungs, but not to the degree as if I was smoking cigarettes this entire time. If I was smoking cigarettes every single day since high school, I would already have damage to my lungs that could never be fixed.
You know what's mom? You know what's crazy? My mom, she's a heavy smoker. She started smoking like around 13, maybe 15. I don't know. And she went to the doctor and her doctor said that her lungs are fine. Like they're not fine, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's not to an extent to what people make it to be.
And that's the thing too, is that it's very different for everybody. So like people will hear your mom's story and they'll think like, oh, okay, so cigarettes aren't as bad as everybody says they are.
But they're still bad.
But no, they're extremely bad. Like, I'm not going to lie. Nicotine is a very, 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 very powerful drug. And it's one of the most dangerous drugs that is legally available to us.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you feel good. It makes social situations feel good. It gives you a bunch of... It fucks with your hormones to make you feel good. It releases a bunch of chemicals into your body to make you less stressed. It simultaneously gives you energy and calms you down. There's all kinds of different things about it. But, like, the number one thing you always hear from everybody that's fucked around with nicotine, if you've never done it, don't do it. That's just the... plain simple. If you've never vaped, you've never used a nicotine pouch, you've never smoked, nothing, then just don't do it. Don't do it because you're opening up a can of worms that is extremely hard to deal with. And that's coming from me. You know, I've been fucking struggling with this on and off for years. And it doesn't help too because then I'll like, this is very specific to me, but let's just say I'm talking to a girl, right? And she's a vapor. Whenever we hang out, I'm going to want to vape around her because I get used to vaping around, like, let's just say my brother. Me and my brother will hang out, we'll vape, we'll watch movies, TV, whatever, right? We'll get buzzes. And I get used to being able to have that nicotine buzz in social settings, social situations. So if I'm hanging around with this person, I feel comfortable with them, instinctually, based off of the habits I formed, I'm going to want to vape or I'm going to want to get a nicotine buzz. And if they're already doing it, then it's going to incentivize me to keep doing it or to pick it up again. And it's not just me. That's like a psychological thing that happens with not only smoking, but vaping. Because it's so socially cued that whenever you get used to doing it around social settings, like let's just say every time you go out to a bar, you smoke a cigarette. You're not smoking cigarettes all the time, but you get used to smoking cigarettes when you're drinking at bars. The second you don't have a cigarette at a bar, it's going to feel weird and you're instantly going to want it. Even if you're not addicted to cigarettes, you've been trained and conditioned by yourself to smoke cigarettes at bars. So it's really really dangerous. That's why I don't recommend anybody try it. That's why I even hate like on podcasts or on YouTube or whatever, like when people are talking about it and then they'll start recommending it to like whoever they're talking it to. It's like, don't do that. Like,
so I don't think we should reach out to this company.
I think we should, because if there's any version of nicotine that you're going to be ingesting into your body, I would say these are probably the best alternative. If you're already smoking, switch to these. That's your best solution. If you're already vaping, you switch to those.
But have these been helping you?
Yeah. But it's different with people because some people need the physical aspect of it. They need to be able to pull out their vape or pull out their cigarettes and like tap it against the box and all the extra shit. For me, it sounds more crackheadish, but I just need the buzz. Are they good?
I think they're good.
I don't know if that's going to pick up. I don't know if it's registering.
It is.
No, that's the air conditioning.
Oh. So you regret smoking that, what was it called? Hookah pen?
Hookah pen? Yeah, well, I'm extremely weird, and I'm like the wrong person to ask about this because I know a lot about it and I can inform you guys, but my own personal stance on it, and this is just me, this is not a representation of everybody and everything and what you should do. Do not take what I'm about to say to heart. You know, you make your own decisions. But for me personally, I don't think nicotine's all that bad. And I've seen the ways it can benefit me with certain areas of my life. And that's why it's always been hard for me to like quit, because nicotine does have proven positive benefits to your mind and your body and overall. The downside is it's like caffeine. Once your body gets used to it, you can't function without it.
Yeah.
And then you have to train your body for like a period of weeks or months to go and function without it again. So even though it's got a lot of positive benefits, it's like Pandora's box. Once you open it, you need to keep it open.
So what's one addiction you want to beat now? Other than this?
Probably masturbation.
Oh, we're on the same one, but okay, other than that.
I don't know, because I would say my biggest addictions are YouTube, nicotine, masturbation, and caffeine. Caffeine is almost impossible now, given the industry and where I work. Plus, I've fixed my relationship with this, so I'm not as bad as I used to be. Because before, I was like intaking caffeine like crack. Like, I think we talked about it on one episode or another where I was measuring out the levels of caffeine I had that day to figure out how much more I could have, because that was my only drug at the time. You know, I would drink G Fuel in the morning, G Fuel in the afternoon, take caffeine pills. Like it was bad. Now it's pretty limited. I have like maybe 150 milligrams a day, if that. But
what's that app?
Which one?
Oh, is that Instagram?
Yeah, it's Instagram.
Oh.
But I would say YouTube, but I've also changed my relationship with YouTube, and now that's like my way of winding down at the end of the day. I don't know. I've been really working on all my addictions and how prevalent they are in my life so that they don't control me, but I could still have them as like vices, you know? Because I like caffeine. I like the way caffeine makes me feel. I like the benefits that comes with caffeine, right? And I know that keeping it in my life creates a dependency, but I'm willing to accept that. And similar to nicotine. Like if I could go my whole life just using those, I probably would because I like the benefits that nicotine brings, especially when it comes to like work, right? Because for me personally, like when I'm writing, I would always be either vaping or I would have like some sort of nicotine around because it opens up the neurons in your brain and your synapses start to fire more and you're able to think better, you know, because that's the big thing. It helps you focus, it helps you think straight, but it also calms you down. So it kind of puts you in the perfect zone to write.
But if you use these your entire life, won't you get receding gums?
No, the receding gums mainly come from tobacco.
Oh, okay.
So when you use chewing tobacco, you're putting straight tobacco leaves into your gum, and then the tar from the leaves and your saliva mixes and then is on your gums, and then it kind of just recedes.
Oh, okay.
These don't have any tobacco. They derive the nicotine from tobacco, but it's just nicotine. So the chemical itself is just getting input into your bloodstream, and then you're able to get the buzz and the feel goods or whatever. But from the studies that have come out so far, and again, I'm not a medical professional, do your own research, check your own shit. They say that it's not linked to receding gums, and it doesn't have the same negative side effects as chewing tobacco, which is why I would say personally, if you were considering different alternatives to smoking or vaping, the Zens would probably be a good way.
But how long have these been out for?
I think since 2011.
So they still don't have enough research as chewing tobacco and.
Well, actually, the brand itself is fairly new, but the industry, the nicotine salt industry, the nicotine pouches, I guess, like those have been going strong for like the last 25 to 30-ish years, because I believe it's Switzerland. It's a pretty much smoke-free country, and they all use snus, which is basically the original blueprint for this. So nobody there actively smokes, but a lot of them use nicotine, and they've been using substances like that or pouches like that. And they have the lowest smoking-related deaths out of any country in the world. Now, I'm not saying all of this to encourage any of you guys to go try this for the first time. This is only for the people that are actively using nicotine and looking for other alternatives. Maybe try the Zins. Maybe. There's also different brands out there, but me personally, that's what I switched to.
What's the hardest drug you'll do then?
Probably LSD.
LSD?
Yeah. I've been wanting to try it. Just at least once for the experience.
Right.
I even joked about trying it with you.
Wait, is acid and LSD the same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I want to at least try it one time, and probably shrooms. But then at that point, I think I've experimented enough.
So you wouldn't do heroin, crack?
Fuck no. No.
Coke?
No. I don't know if I would
Love?
do coke. Love?
Mm-hmm.
Like ecstasy?
No, what?
Oh, you're referencing J. Cole.
Yeah.
I already fuck around with love. That's probably... All right, now that I think about it, the biggest addiction I want to fix is probably my
Horniness?
not horniness, my love addiction. Because I don't really care. Okay, I'll say I'm a lustful person, like more than the average Joe. But I'm not the type of guy to go out and sleep with 10 women in 1 week. And you know this.
Mm-hmm.
But I am the type of guy to fuck around and fall in love back to back to back.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, is because then how do I know I'm actually falling in love with any of these girls, you know? Like, I'm the type of guy that'll go out, meet a girl, think she's the greatest girl in the world, and then I see a prettier girl who I think is more my type, and then I go for her. Until I see another girl who's different than her, but also fits into my type, and then I go for her. And then it's like, that's why I say it's like a wannabe player, because I'm not looking for just pussy. I'm like looking for love. And then that's why I've been trying to like hold myself back all this time. It's like, that's more dangerous than just going out there looking for pussy. Because you could find one night stands all over the place, but that's not what I'm looking for. You know, the thing with me is that I like the relationship aspects of it. But recently I've noticed that it's more of like a commitment thing. Like, I know I'm not ready to commit, but then I catch myself like talking like I'm about to commit. Like, I catch myself saying things that you would say to somebody you're about to be in a relationship with, and I'm like, I should calm down. I should stop. Because I know I'm not going to be in their life forever. I know that this isn't the forever girl, but I'm making her believe that I am. I'm making her believe that I'll stay around for 3, 4, 5 weeks, and I'm not. So then that's where I have to like tone it back.
So that's one.
What about you? Do you think, what are some of the things you feel like you struggle with addiction wise?
Snacking. I need to calm down. Snacking.
Snack? I was not expecting snacking.
Well, if we had the same answer with masturbation, but that's a whole different.
Well, what's your thing with masturbation?
I've noticed that the same thing with coffee. If I don't jack off in the first thing in the morning, then my whole day is kind of wonky. Because I do it like once every like 2-3 days, and if I wake up and don't do it, I feel like my whole day's kind of like not. It's not like I'm gonna have a bad day. It's more like it's gonna.
You're like more on edge.
No, well, I guess yeah. Like I feel like I'm gonna be more stressed out that day.
Yeah, with me, it's definitely masturbation because I feel like for the most part, I have a good handle on porn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very rarely do I use it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've used it sometimes, even though on here I'll be like, no, don't do it. But I think eventually it'll pop up. To me, it's more about just controlling how often you use it. And they even say masturbation itself isn't really that bad for you, but watching porn and masturbating fucks with the things in your brain. So if you're able to bust a nut without watching anything, you're still healthy. If you can just visualize fantasies in your head, which sounds weird because like people are going to be like, well, what are you going to visualize? You're going to visualize the people in your life. But up until porn was readily available, like in magazines and stuff, that's what people did. You know, they just fantasized about whatever the fuck. And it was somewhat healthy even then because you were using more of your brain and it felt more organic versus just watching something and then forcing yourself to like come do it. You know? Yeah. So it's a bit of mix. It's a mix. And even with, I don't know how much of this I might have to cut out, but even with porn, like I don't just watch generic porn videos. I have like, well, why are you reacting? You don't even know.
The way you phrase it, I don't watch a generic.
Like I don't watch like, oh, this dude's fucking this girl or these guys are gangbanging this chick. Like to me, it's just not. It's not entertaining, you know. This is gonna make me sound soft as fuck, but like a lot of the ones that I've always been like attracted to is almost like
You like the storyline? Oh my god!
Not the storyline. I like the intimacy.
Oh.
Like. I like the intimacy of it. Like I can't just watch some random dude, third person fucking another girl. Like it just, cause then I just feel like a peeping Tom. You know what I mean? In the past, whenever I've done it, it's always been kind of like more first person perspective type of thing. Because then at that point you can kind of pretend that you're in that role. But then there's like other stuff. I'm not going to go into it that much, but then there's other branches that I found that I actually like. But yeah, even then, you know, I fucked around with different versions of it and different types of it. You can fill in the gaps yourself.
You still haven't thrown away the wrappers.
Here, hand them to me. I'll throw them away.
No, quick. You have to get them.
I have to. I'm comfortable. It's fine. I'll just get it during our ad break. What about you though?
What about me?
Like, in regards to like porn, like what? You don't have to go into specifics, but what attracts you to it so much? You think?
I think it's the fantasies. Like, I think, like, I could get off without watching porn. But when I do watch it, I have, like, the same perspective as you, as watching POV and pretending that I'm that guy. But it's also, like, just a fantasy of it.
Like just the scenarios they come up with. As stupid
I
as
guess,
they are.
yeah.
Like the pizza guy comes and she
Or
doesn't have any money.
Or like
some
the
shit like that.
realtor, or like
The
the
realtor,
one
yeah.
that's looking for a roommate.
Yeah, I've never seen the roommate one. What? There's
Yeah.
ones like she's looking for a roommate or something.
No, the dude's looking for a roommate.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think with a lot of it, it's just I try to stay away from hardcore shit too because that morphs your perspective on things.
Yeah.
Like if you're watching some like hardcore shit and you weren't originally into that, it's probably because you got molded, you know? Like I'm probably in the minority here, but I feel like I'm one of those weird guys who have seen like the same video like 80 times.
No, I think that's normal because I do that.
Yeah, but we might be the minority because I've also heard guys say that they'll never watch the same video again. I even met somebody who said, I've slept with thousands of women and none of them will ever know because of how often they switch videos, you know? And then like I was in my head, I was thinking about it, I was like, something like 30, you know, because I kind of know what I like. And so I kind of just stay in that sphere, which then will ruin it for you, which they can then help, you know, disattach you from it a little bit. Because if you're going back for the same stuff all the time and you're seeing the same videos and you know what's going to happen, it's not as fun.
Yeah, and it gets bland.
It gets bland. And so then you can either at that point, you know, start pulling away, shifting how often you watch it, or you'll start going and looking for more. And then if you start looking for more, it can lead into you finding some crazy shit.
Yeah. Well, how many times have you jerked off in a day?
Like max?
Yeah. Mine was like 3 or 4.
You know, that's actually funny because I have a story pertaining to that, but it's not about me. I think my max, this is when I was probably like peak testosterone, peak horniness, 11 times, something like that.
Jesus.
Well, I told you, I'm already more, I have a higher sex drive than the average person, right? And I already think about it more. I can do it more often. That's not like a flex or anything. It's just like part of me, right? And so on average, if I wanted to, I could probably go like 3 times a day. Not that I ever do. I try to distance it way more than that. But at my peak, like puberty, horniness, testosterone, whatever, probably like 11. Jeez. It was 4 for you? Well, that's nothing compared to the record I just heard about. This is a not third person account. I heard this from somebody who told them this. But there is this girl that I was talking to, not like that, and she was telling me about some guy that was like trying to sleep with her, right? And she said that he messaged her randomly out of the blue. He sent her a picture of his cock. He was like holding it. And then she was like, what the fuck is this? And then in the caption, because it was on Snapchat, he's like, I just finished jerking off to you. That's 22 times this day or something. I was like, what? I was like, 22 times a day? I was like, I don't think I could ever hit 22. Like, you'd have to plan that shit like a week of just getting 9 to 10 hours of sleep, drinking a gallon of water every day, eating extremely healthy, and then you have to like plan that shit out. And it was just average for him. He jerked off 22 times a day.
Did some guy die for jerking off like 43 times?
I don't know. I'm sure you probably could.
Yeah, I think someone died from jerking off too much.
Because if you don't rehydrate, you're not eating snacks or anything in between. Like that's just exercise for like 8 hours. You know, like having sex is exercise. Like you get fucking tired afterwards. You're sitting there like. And like you're like, do I work out enough? Do I need to stop vaping? Like what the fuck? At least for me, you know. But fuck, man, I don't know. I don't know if I could do 22 times. And the fact that he was thinking about this girl that he had never slept with, and had only met on one occasion, and jerked off to the thought of her 22 times is insane to me. But I'm sure all of the women listening to this have an experience or two of this, because apparently it's very common for some weird guy to message a girl and just be over the top. I'm sure you've heard your own stories.
Yes,
from talking to
I
people.
have.
And it's
I was one of them.
What?
What?
Were you really?
No,
have you
no.
ever been that guy?
No, I never been that guy.
Ever.
Ever.
Well, not like even to the extent where you're sending dick pics, but like, have you ever been the weird overbearing guy?
What do you mean?
Because I know for a fact that at one point in my life, I was the weird overbearing guy to at least one girl.
But what do you mean by overbearing?
Like quadruple messaging her.
Oh.
Demanding her like attention, expecting a relationship.
No. Not necessarily. Like, would it count if, like, let's say I message her like an hour ago and then I message her again, but it's because of something completely different?
No, I don't think so.
Then
but
no.
some girls will still find that weird.
Then, well, if that's the case, no.
Because I know for a fact, at least one point in my life, again, this was like 12-year-old Devin. 12-year-old Devin was like a fucking different beast. This guy was figuring shit out. That's why I fucking, like, when I look back on my middle school years, I hate it. I hate the thought of middle school because of who I was, what I did, and how everything was affecting me. But at one point during middle school, there was a girl that I really liked. It was, and me and her were friends, and I started to get a crush on her. And we would already text pretty often. But then it got to a point where we were texting like all day long, right? And then at some point, I think she started to pick up on what I was feeling for her, because then she stopped answering as much, right? And then at that point, I would start to message her like 4 or 5 times back to back, like waiting for a response. And then sometimes she would answer, and then sometimes she didn't. And if she didn't answer, I would wait like a day, and then I would message her again and then pick up the conversation. Now, I would say the only saving grace was the fact that I was able to save the conversation a lot of the times. But that was a very important learning experience for me, because I realized that a lot of the times that I was like calling or messaging her, I didn't have anything to talk about. I just wanted to talk to her. So I would message her like, "What are you doing?" And then and she would be like, "Oh, watching TV." I'd be like, "Oh, me too. What are you watching?" "The game." "Which game? Who's playing?" "This person and this person."
That's annoying, Devin.
And
That is
like,
annoying.
yeah, I was that guy. And I had to be that guy to learn to not be that guy. You know, and fortunately she was the only one that I think I ever did this to. Unfortunately, she had to experience it. But I never sent her like a random dick pic or anything like that. I was just trying the best that I could as a 12-year-old boy who had never experienced anything, didn't know how to talk to girls, to try to get this girl to like me. And it got to the point, this is so fucking embarrassing, but it got to the point where I told her how I felt, right? But I didn't sit her down in person. I didn't even call her. I sent her a long ass paragraph. And then I did it like twice. And she didn't reciprocate. She said no 2 different times, right? And in hopes of winning her over, I even went so far as to like change my cover on Facebook to her, because that was back in the day when people would do that. I know. We've come a long way. We've definitely come a long way. I told you when I've said this before on the show that I didn't know how to talk to girls. I'm telling you, I was the weird guy. I started at the bottom of the barrel. Absolute zero riz. I didn't know how to talk to them. I didn't know how to keep them going. I don't know if I ever mentioned this. I might have. But at one point, I was talking to a different girl on the phone, right? And my brother happened to walk in and hear us talking. And he heard some of the stuff I was saying. And then he walked out laughing. And then he said, "You don't know how to talk to girls." And I was like, "You're a year and a half younger than me. Like, how the fuck do you know how to talk to girls? Like, what's your experience, fucker?" But I really did it. Like, honestly, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
Interesting.
I mean, I think that's the thing with most guys, though. Like, you don't instantly know how to fucking talk to girls and keep them attractive.
I don't.
Well, you do now. You got a better understanding now, and I've seen it. You're just the type of person that doesn't jump on it or act on it.
What do you mean?
I've seen the way you talk, like when you send me screenshots of your messages because you said something funny or she said something funny. Like I'll read it and I'm like, oh, okay, Eddie actually knows like how to keep a girl engaged, keep her interested, like talk to her, right? You make the conversations fun. But if you start to receive signs that this person likes you, you're the kind of person to not jump on it because you're not sure.
Well, yeah, because it's different. You could interpret a message differently.
I know that. But like for me, right? Reading these messages or hearing these interactions, I'm like, oh, Eddie's got a chance. Or I can definitely see some sort of chemistry here. But you don't ever really build on it. You kind of just keep it there. And then the feelings will either dwindle away or, yeah, no, they always just dwindle away now that I think about it. Or you guys just stop talking for whatever reason. You know? Like with, you got to admit, like there was a chemistry there and you knew how to keep the conversations going and you knew how to take it to where you wanted to take it. So you can't say you don't know what you're doing. You just don't always do it. You don't always put in the effort.
I guess I overthink it too much.
It's weird because you overthink the stupidest shit.
You know, I was thinking about this too.
What?
Okay, let's say fuck. An example is like the slingshot. You said you'll never do the slingshot because it's too fucking scary.
Not going.
But I did it, and then after I did it, I'm like, fuck, I kind of want to do it again. But then we go on a small ride that's not that bad. I wouldn't go on there because it's too scary. Like I'm weird like that. Like I'll fight the hardest battles, but I won't fight the easiest ones.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that, and I think with you, it's just like a mental thing because I've literally caught you saying like, "Oh, what's the point then?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what's the point of me putting in the effort because it's like either a guaranteed yes or no, or it's too uncertain for me to know,
mm-hmm.
right? Like you'd rather go to the extreme than fuck around with the uncertainties.
Yeah, like I said, I'd rather take on the hardest battles than do the easiest ones, and I don't know why.
Like you would rather, well, I don't know, I can't say for sure, but an example to me would be like you're talking to a girl and it's pretty obvious that this girl likes you, but rather than take it to a serious level and actually like sit her down and be like, look, this is how I feel, you would be the type of person to go, oh, there's this hot chick at my store, let me go ask her for her number. Not that I think you would actually do that because I've actually seen you fold in person, but like that's the kind of juxtaposition that you have where it's like, oh, I'm not gonna do this, I know this girl likes me, all I gotta do is sit her down. I'd rather go after this one girl that I know I have no shot with.
See, I always thought about it like I would fight a bear, but I can't fight a dog.
Would you actually fight a bear though?
I'll fuck around and try to fight a bear.
With like claws and everything?
Yeah.
No, you're stupid.
I'll try. I'll at least try it.
The only instance in where I would ever consider or actually fight a bear is if I have to. Like it's about to eat my dog or my loved one or something like that. Or I'm in the forest and it's about to kill me. That's the only instance where I can imagine myself fighting a bear.
Right.
You'd be like, oh yeah, let me fuck around and find out in a ring, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then like you'll be like, all right, Eddie, fight that dog. I'm like, no, I don't want to fight that dog. It's scary.
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's weird with you, man. It's
like I pick and choose my battles, but the battles I choose are the ones that people won't fight.
You're
like I'll fight. Like if we go to World War, like let's say there's a World War and there's a draft. I'm like, no, I won't go to a draft. But like let's say there's a random bar fight downtown, I'll jump on that. And so I don't know. It's weird.
You're uniquely frustrating. You know that? Like there's no other person in the world that ever frustrates me in the way that you do.
Mm-hmm.
With the things that you do. You know? I'm bringing it back to the girl thing because that most recent example, which I won't go into, had me extremely frustrated because I'm like, Eddie, just do it. You're like, no. I'm like,
hold on. You're saying?
That specifically like upset me. You know, I was just like, it's a little uncertain, but it's leaning one way, at least in my perspective. And I think that if you gave it a serious shot, you know, there could be
No, but
something
I
there.
like I explained it to you. It's all circumstantial. Like there were things on each other's plates that would get in the way of that, and I explained that to you.
Mhm.
But you're too ignorant yourself to realize that too. You think that we could just work around it,
Well,
but
that's the thing. I think you could. Like, I know where you're at and where that person's at and, like, the things that are blocking you. But they're inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. You know, I'm not looking at this like, oh, this would be a great fling for Eddie to have.
right.
This would be a great way for Eddie to get his dick wet for the summer. I'm looking at it like, you know, I actually see something a little bit deeper here. And if the two were to ever work it out, they could probably go for a long time. And if I'm thinking in the long-term sense, then these little things that are jumping in the way are inconsequential.
But if that's the case, then it's just probably
It would be like there's a girl that you're talking to that you like or whatever, right?
right.
And you don't drive and she doesn't drive. And you're like, well, we can't work out. We don't drive. How are we going to meet up?
Right.
And be like, no, I can't, Devin. I can't. Because she doesn't drive, I don't drive. There's no way it's going to work out. And I'm like, that's such a small fucking issue. Like, if you really think about it.
Well,
Because you got to think about it from like a romantic movie standpoint, right? If that was like a Ryan Gosling romance movie, you think that him not having a fucking car or her not having a car would stop them, you know?
I feel like it could create more obstacles.
It does create more obstacles. But then that's where the question of like, how bad are you willing to go into it is pops up. And then I know you and you'll be like, well, not that bad, because if there's a bunch of obstacles, then I'd rather not deal with it. And then I'm like, well, okay, well, obviously he doesn't like this person as much as I thought. Otherwise, the obstacles wouldn't mean nothing.
See, the way I always thought it, if she was, let's say, the right person, then it was just the wrong time.
I get what you mean whenever you say that.
Right.
But
Just like you. Fuck, I can't mention that. Never mind.
you can mention it. I'll just have to bleep it out.
Just like you with.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like with that, you're like, I love it. I really want this, and I'm like, jump for it. And you're like, no, I want to wait, because if I still have to do all these things, and if it's still there, then it was meant to be.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's the same thing. Her and I have all these things on our plate, and once we finish the plate, if we still see each other across the table,
Finish the plate.
if we finish the plate and still see each other across the table, then it was meant to be.
Yeah, I get what you mean by that. It's just, for me, at least, when it comes to like romance and relationships, both parties have to be willing to put in work, lots of work, especially in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you both have to be willing to go the extra mile when it's not easy or convenient, because at that point, that's when you really know like you're building something. Because if they're not willing to or you're not willing to, there's no point. But if you're both kind of willing to and you're just not doing it, then you're potentially missing out on a great relationship. If something like travel or scheduling or whatever the fuck is getting in the way of something like that, then it's like you could be missing out on something great if you were to just try to overcome these little obstacles. Yeah, you're going to have to jump a little bit more to see this person, but the trophy that you'll get at the end is a little bit better versus if it's just convenient, you know? And I think that's what I see a lot in the world now, which is why it frustrates me with you, is that people choose the convenient options. You know, like, this is the first person that liked my Tinder post this week, so this is the person I'm going to go with. It's like there's no work that was being put into it. Or I see this person every single day at work, so I don't have to go out of my way to see them.
Right.
Or, you know, we have all the same friends, so it's just easy if we get together. Like, to me, that's not really like you guys building something. You know, I'm not too dissuade. I'm not really too hung up on like obstacles when it comes to shit like that. But that's more me. I'm more romantical in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Romantic, I guess. Where even if there's an obstacle like scheduling or time or family or whatever the fuck, if I care about that person, I'm willing to like put in the work to see where it could go. Only if they're willing to put in the work with me. And with you guys, it seems like you guys already put in the work just to have this kind of relationship that you guys have already. And your main excuse for not making it official and securing it was because there's extra work. And it's like, yeah, there's extra work. There's things in the way. It's going to be a little tough. But if it ends up working out, you could be like set up for life.
Yeah, but like I told you, she said she's not really looking for anything. And I'm not going to be like, no. Think about it.
It's not you pitching it to her. It's you sitting her down and going, this is what I feel. I know you're not looking for anything. I'm not here to convince you, but this is how I'm feeling. Because calling her or sending her a voice message or texting her is a lot different than sitting her down. Because it takes 3 seconds, maybe a minute to send a text, especially a lengthy one. To put in the effort to see this person, sit them down and tell them how you're feeling, tell them where you're at, and tell them your hopes for where this could go, speaks to how much you actually care. If you're actually in that space.
Right, but let's just say she gives me the same response.
Then at that point, at least you know for sure. You know? It's like...
But
let me think of an analogy to put it in perspective.
See, but that's what I hate. I rather just if a person doesn't like me, just be straight up with me, and I won't tell you again that I still like you.
But that's you. Not everybody functions.
Right.
I'm just
right.
gonna
Hold
tell
on.
you the truth
Hold
straight
on.
up.
Hold on. But with her, she's straight up. So if she tells me something straight up, then that I know that she means it that way. She doesn't beat around the bush.
Well, she doesn't beat around the bush, but she also doesn't tell you everything straight up. And I noticed it from the one message where she was like, I'm upset with you, but obviously you're not picking up on it. Like to her, she was being direct with what she was feeling. And it just missed the mark. It just went over your head entirely.
Right.
And to me, this kind of seems like an example of that. Like maybe it's something that she's not really ready to put into words, but she's already feeling. And then, you confronting her in a sense and telling her will let her know that this is a safe space. Because like let's just say I liked her, right? It was in the exact same position. I sent her a text. Took me a minute to write, hey, I like you, blah, blah, blah. I can make it as wordy or as pretty as I want. But her response will probably be the same versus if I took time out of my day, planned this little thing, went to her house or took her out and then told her, I'm not expecting her to be like, yes, let's get into a relationship. I'm not forcing her, but I'm letting her know like, hey, this is what it is. This is where I am. This is what I want. I understand if you're not ready for that, but I feel like I needed to share that with you. And you know what? I was kind of beating around the bush, but the perfect example is with because that's what happened with us. And she kind of already confirmed it is like, she appreciated that more than if I were to just send her a text. And I think a big part of the reason why it never worked out for us in the past, especially like when we first started talking in high school, is probably because that was my approach in high school. It was to just shoot her a text. But from the signs that she had given me then to the signs that she had given me after the fact, there was at least some sort of connection there. I didn't play it smart in high school. I did play it smart as an adult. I just took too much time as an adult and the situation had changed. And there was no way for us to get into that position. But it just means more, and I think it'll show that you mean what you say rather than just saying what you think you should say.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's starting to make sense. Should I show her this episode?
It's up to you. Because, like, that she appreciated it. And girls will mention that. Like, if you were the only guy out of the last 3 years to actually sit her down and do that or make an event out of it without any expectation or without putting any pressure on her to jump into a situation, she's going to remember that. And it's going to mean more to her, even if it doesn't end up becoming something right away. you know? It's more meaningful. It's more thoughtful. And it shows where you're at. It shows where your headspace is at. Like, look, I like you enough to put effort into telling you I like you. You've already seen how good our relationship is. I want to take this to the next level. Then at that point, the ball is in their court for sure. And at that point, like if you're sitting there face to face, she has to answer. She has to tell you where she's at.
But isn't that...
Because what if that happened and then you sat her down, it was a whole romantical night, you're
Right.
sitting like in a fucking park, the sun's going down, you tell her, and then she goes, hey, you never answered my iMessage game? You know for sure because you did everything you could. And now you can then focus, like, fuck, that would suck. Oh my God. I would probably hang myself with toilet paper or some shit. But Jesus Christ. Oh God, that would suck. But at the very least, once you get over the embarrassment and the shame or the humiliation of it, you would know exactly where you stand. She didn't even have the decency to answer you in person after you went through all this effort. Why the fuck are you going to keep waiting around? You can just move the fuck on. Right? And if that were to ever happen, I would say don't let it deter you from ever doing that again. Because when I sat her down and I told her, it was a flat out no.
Hold on, Devin. I need to stand up. All right, keep going. But I just need to stand up. My ass is hurting.
Are you getting swamp ass?
No, it's just the wood from the chair was like the bar. I don't. Keep going.
Okay. But when oh, they can't see your ass. But like when I told about what I was feeling,
Right.
it was a flat out no, right? But I didn't let that deter me from using that method to tell others. You know, like when I told it was in person. When I told it was in person.
How do I make this taller?
Probably the stand right here.
I'm just gonna leave it like that. Can you hear me like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're picking up. That's my argument. I would say it just shows the intent more than a message, or more than a phone call, or more than a voice message.
But
unless it's physically impossible or very, very, very improbable that you could actually do that. Because if you're talking to a girl, you guys live in the same state, and then you move or she moves or something like that, there's no way that you could just drive over and see her or fly over and see her unless you have it made like that.
But wouldn't you consider that like cornering her for an answer?
I know some people can look at it like that, but that's why you have to be clear that you're not expecting anything. You're just letting her know how you feel. When I told I said, I don't expect us to jump into a relationship tomorrow, but I can't sit around here pretending like I don't have feelings for you. And I can't just go on being your friend knowing that you're interested and talking to somebody else and then hear all the updates on it, because it's hurting me more than you know it's hurting me. And I'm not trying to force you to choose me or put you in a situation where you feel like you have to pick between us, but I have to let you know what I'm feeling. And if you feel the same way and you feel like this is an opportunity where we can make it work, then it's a conversation that we can have. But I feel like I need to tell you. I have to tell you, and I want you to know that I'm not bullshitting you. That's why I'm telling you in person. That's why I'm sitting here alone under the moonlight with you, telling you and not sending a text message. And it resonated with her. She knew that I was being serious. And that's why she even, at least to me, considered it. Right? That's why she even brought it up after the fact. And I'm pretty sure she even told some fucking people. So there's probably somebody listening to this that knows somebody or heard from somebody else the story. But like, it just means more when you do it like that. And it shows your intent, you know? We're not in middle school anymore. We can sit them down. We can have conversations, especially in the digital age where 90% of the confessions or relationships that are being formed are happening over like the phones. It stands out much, much more. Because what if there's another guy in your situation that likes this person and they do the exact same approach? How's she going to know who actually cares about her more in that scenario? If you guys both send a voice message or you both text her or whatever the fuck, right?
I'll add to that off podcast.
Okay. I'm not going to go too deep into that. You can tell me after the fact, but how's she going to know who to pick in that instance? Because in a sense, that's what will end up happening.
Mm-hmm.
How's she going to know who's serious and who's actually going to treat her right? It's going to be the guy who's putting in more effort. And see, with me in my scenario, my competitor, in a sense, was already doing extra shit. So I already knew I couldn't just get away with telling her on the phone call. Not that I would have, but like, I had to sit her down. I had to tell her to her face. Right? And I didn't plan on doing it, but it turned into us making a day out of it, you know? I called her last minute. I asked if I could go over, went over, and then we just hung out for like 6 or 7 hours. Hung out with her dad, talked to him. We went to a party. We went to go get food. We were singing to each other. We were making a bunch of jokes. We came back, sat under the stars, and then I told her. And that'll stick out more than just something superficial like, hey, I bought you flowers. I like you. Or a phone call, hey, I've been liking you a lot. You know? If you make it an experience, you make it a memory, and then you're honest, and you're like, this is what it is. It might be cornering, but that's my approach. And even if it ends up being a no, it sticks with them. That's for all you fuckers too. If you're listening to this and there's somebody out there, don't you ever be fucking sending texts.
Hold on. Can we take a break?
Yeah. I need to use the bathroom. We'll be right back after these messages. This episode is brought to you by our friends at BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a platform that allows you to find and speak with a therapist in a way that fits you and your needs. Whether you have some things that you feel are holding you back, or you just need somebody to talk to, BetterHelp offers you the support system to approach your struggles however you see fit. They have remote therapy sessions that can be done through call, text, or even video conferences. Plus, BetterHelp works with you to find a therapist that fits you. So, if you're interested in taking the first step towards self-improvement and starting therapy, use code MOOMEN to save yourself 10% off at checkout. That's code MOONMEN to save 10% off at checkout. Thank you again to BetterHelp for supporting the show. Okay.
And we're back.
So stupid. So, this is a weird way to bring us back, but I was thinking about this earlier because I just found this out about Albert Einstein. Did you know that he was kind of like a player?
Yeah. Like the back in the day, their versions of rock stars were scientists.
Yeah, I guess because fucking Oppenheimer was a fucking player. I was gonna say Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was kind of a player.
Yeah, he was a player.
Cheated on his wife, and then helped some other girl cheat on her wife.
And then that girl fucking
or husband.
And then that girl fucking killed herself because he cheated or
and
chose the wrong woman or some shit.
He fucking had sexual relations with another girl who was in a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Albert Einstein had like.
Haven't you ever seen that picture with him with the tongue?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, everyone's seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about it?
Yeah, he has a long tongue.
Oh. Well, he had like 10 different hoes or some shit like that. Like it's reported, but it's like mixed reports, right? That he had slept with at least 10 to 15 different women. And he had multiple marriages and divorces. And he like talked about how like he didn't really believe in monogamy. And, like, I was, like, thinking about it, and I was remembering Oppenheimer, and I was remembering one other guy. I forgot the fuck who it was. But I was like, why do we associate, like, nerds as being, like, virgins when all these fucking nerds back in the day were getting more pussy than regular Joes?
I think it's because of high school nerds. always
I think
being
that's
virgin.
a new stereotype. Because I'm willing to bet, like, you could have been a nerd in, like, when did those high school movies start coming out? Late 70s? So you could have been a nerd in the 60s and probably still got some pussy.
Probably.
You know? And once, like, the 70s rolled around, we started to go based more off of the media.
Mm-hmm.
Then at that point, you were kind of fucked.
That reminds me. Do you think they make movies purposely to kind of mind control the masses?
I'm sure there's some corporations out there that do that. You could even look at like Christian films as being an example of that, you know, because they're, even if it's not inherently Christian, they can force Christian ideologies down your throat. Like the Chronicles of Narnia is very, very heavily biblically.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I took a literature class in college, and I forgot what the essay prompt was, but some guy chose Christianity and
Chronicles of Narnia.
And he was talking. I'm like, oh my fucking god, it's making so much sense. Aslan is God or Jesus Christ, right?
Because then he dies and gets resurrected.
Yeah, and then the kids, they were what, the apostles?
Something like that. I remember researching about this back when I was into Christianity. But and what is it? C.S. Lewis is the author.
Yeah.
He even admitted that like he used biblical influences when writing the book so that there could be themes of Christianity inside of it. Right? Versus Tolkien, who was just creating his entire fucking world and he just wanted someplace to like just make. He's all, this is my thing. I don't care about adding shit into it, right? But like you could say an example like that is them deliberately making a piece of media to mind control the masses, because especially
but I feel like a lot of people didn't turn to Christianity after watching Chronicles of Narnia.
No, but the books came out in the 20s or 30s, and at that time, you know, there was Christianity was already prevalent. 90% of people were Christian.
I thought it was Catholic.
Well, Catholic, Christian, but most people believed in God, right? The thing is, I think, especially during that time, like when you think everything's going the way it should be, you're going to create media that furthers the agenda, so to speak, right? Because think about it as like from a writer's perspective. Whenever you're making a film or a script, or whenever I'm writing a story, we always have something in mind that we're trying to say with it, right? And all writers have this. Whether you're writing a fucking short story that you're just going to tell on your shitty podcast, or you're...
Hey, fuck you!
That's diss towards me.
Oh, because I have mine right here.
I'm going to read it.
Don't read it here.
I'm going to read it on the show. He wrote a script. You can't even see it.
Oh, you can't?
It's just a white page. But like, look it. He's got pages, people. You really can't see shit. Whether that's a diss towards me, because I'm the only one that shared his writing on the show so far. But whether you're writing a fucking short story that you're just going to tell on your shitty podcast, or you're writing a book that you're hoping, or a script or a movie or whatever that you're hoping like stands the test of time, you always have some sort of idea of what you're trying to say when you're creating it, right? At least you should, for the most part. If your story is just, I want to write a cool action story, it works, but it's not really going to stand up through a test of time. And I think we subconsciously...
That's not necessarily true, because look at Rambo. There's no deeper meaning in Rambo, and everybody remembers Rambo.
Well, people like Rambo, but 100 years from now, it might still be mentioned here or there, like pop culture references, but like it doesn't have a deeper story. Nobody's getting like tattoo quotes from Rambo. You know, nobody's like, that line stuck with me and changed
Transformers.
Even then, you could argue it's got a story in it. It's more dorky. It's way more sci-fi. But Lord of the Rings is also like really fucking dorky in a sense, and people get tattoos of that shit all the time. And they say, like,
look at Star Wars. Look at the Avengers.
Like, even though the outside branding is like really weird, you know, or it's like, oh, it's just superheroes, or it's this, it's that. There's still a deeper story in it. Maybe with Rambo, it's more just about patriotism. and being a fucking badass. But at
Probably.
the same time, it was also furthering the agenda, at least at the time, of what war was, what heroes were, what men were, all subconsciously. You know? Like, I think people do it subconsciously, but there's probably definitely people that are, like, hoping that this spawns something. Because I've even caught myself doing it when I'm writing stuff. I'm like, I'm hoping this will resonate with a person, or this will help change the public perception on something, at least in some small degree, you know? So yeah, I think they do. I just don't think there's like this big corporation that's like, let's make this movie so that everybody starts to think like this and do that.
No, I think, well, that's why there's woke movies.
Yeah. But in a sense, like, even though I don't engage with them for the most part, in a sense, they're just doing what we're doing. They're just the minority. And it sticks out to us because we're not used to it. And
well, no, I think it happens gradually over time. Like if they make one movie about Mexicans being evil, it's gonna spawn 10 more movies about Mexicans being evil, and then it's gonna be like 5 years from now, the majority of people in the world are gonna be like, Mexicans are bad people. Yeah,
I'm sure that
they just do it for the long game. Look at what's a good example? Like, look at all the movies depicting black people as being fucking bad people, stealers, cop killers, shit like that. And people generally think that black people are all those things. Yeah.
That, again, though, I don't think that was like a deliberate choice. I think that was just, one, subconscious writing and biases coming out.
Right.
And then two, just the cultural perception. Because, like, if we wrote a story, if we wrote a romance story, right, we're going to write it based off of what we think a romance story should be. And it's going to have our own biases that come out in it. So we're going to be like, oh, I think that it should be a man and a woman, and they're going to fall in love like this, and more than likely the woman's going to have to be chasing the man or something like that. But then if you ask a woman to write the story, she'll be like, well, it's a man and a woman, but the man's going to do everything to get the woman's attention and blah, blah, blah. And then if you ask, like, it's depending on who you ask, right? Mm-hmm. And so even if a lot of these writers didn't outwardly hate black people, they probably had some sort of subconscious bias where they were like, oh, well, I don't really like black people. I don't really trust them. I don't know that many of them. I probably know one. So I'll just make the black guy the bad guy, you know? And then that inspired it to become like a trope. And then over time, the trope just became the common consensus where everybody was like, this is what it is, rather than like really putting any critical thinking into it, you know? That's why I think also as writers, we have to be aware of what we're writing at all times too. There's a lot of responsibility when it comes to being a writer. That's why it's such a hard profession. Because I remember I asked you, like, do you deliberately make your characters like this gender or this race? And you're like, no, I just write, like, I just make them all whatever, right? But for me, I'm like, well, yeah, you could do that and you can get away with that. But like, let's just say, you know, I make this story have mainly white characters with a supporting cast of like one Mexican, one black guy, one this, one that, right? Yeah, I'm having extra races and extra cultures thrown in there. But let's say like a Mexican kid picks up the book and wants to read it, and then there's just a bunch of white people and he doesn't connect with it. You know? It's like shit like that. And then that's when I understand people are like, okay, well, let's write from these different perspectives. But then they're all coming out at the same time and they're all being forced down our throats. So then it feels like...
See, I never liked that. If you're not going to connect the character because they have different colored skin, then don't watch the movie.
No, but you know what I mean, right? Like, it could be a subconscious thing because I really resonate with a lot of fictional characters that don't share the same color skin as me.
Yeah.
Whether they're black, white, or whatever, right? You know, like, Bruce Lee is one of my personal, like, idols, and I loved all the characters that he played on the screens.
Right.
And you could make the argument that we're both, like, brown. But, you know, Bruce Lee's Asian and I'm Hispanic, and, like, we don't directly correlate. But I never let that stop me from like feeling like I could be him. I didn't let the fact that my skin was brown stop me from feeling like I could be like.
I feel like that's a new generation thing.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I'm not gonna lie, just because I liked a lot of white characters, for example, and I thought they were really cool, there was always some part of me in the back of my mind that was like, well, you couldn't technically be them, you know, because they're white. Like, you've probably noticed it, like, oh, there's a lot of white fucking main characters. No,
I never looked at race in movies.
But like if you do,
only if they put it up on the screen. Hey, he's black, he's white, he has a different background. Like, then yeah, I have to see it. But like, if it's Iron Man versus Captain America, or like the new Spider-Man being black, I'm not gonna.
No, but see, I think that's dumb. I don't think you should get an established character and race swap them just so that you can make people happy. My argument is, we're going to be telling the perspectives and adding the cultures of all these different people, at least make it authentic. Make the characters good.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Just, okay.
So I'm not saying like I'll deliberately race swap characters so that some Mexican kid or some Asian kid will pick it up and be like, oh, that's me. But at the same time, I don't want to just write from a Mexican perspective or just write from a...
So what you mean is, like, let's say there's three main characters, a white guy, a Mexican, and a black guy. You're not going to give the Mexican guy a sombrero, and you're not going to give the black guy Hennessy, and then you're going to give a white guy a slave.
Whoa. Whoa. Oof. 200 years later, and that shit still stings.
That was good. No, I'm not gonna. No, I feel bad for saying that.
Why? It's a good joke.
No, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. Oh, comedy's back. We'll talk about that after. So that's what you mean. You're not gonna throw stereotypes within those characters.
No, I'm not gonna throw stereotypes. My thing is like, okay, if I write 3 books, first one will probably be a white guy main character, right? Probably surrounded by more of a white cast because so like races hang out with each other. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So like, let's say his name is John. The first book is about John.
The names don't matter, but the first guy's name is John.
And then the second guy is Pablo.
The second guy would probably be Pablo, and maybe Pablo hangs out with a couple more whites or a couple more blacks or whatever the fuck, right? Then the third book, I would try to make it like from
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, holy shit! I was just gonna say Jay. You know, I was just gonna go based off of people I know.
Oh, you know, a black guy named Jay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why that's surprising. I have a bunch of different friends.
You never mentioned Jay, that's why.
I've mentioned Jay before. Actually, I shouldn't say it, but I like when the rap beef was going on, me and Jay were talking about it all the time. We would call each other at work and talk about it. He's a cool ass dude. I owe him a case of, oh shit, wait, I'm getting too personal. Never mind. I don't owe him shit.
Case of water.
Case of water. You bought me some water. Turn this inside out.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say Jay.
Okay.
So, but like, okay, first one's John, second one's Pablo, second one is Jay, right? They're all gonna be good characters, and I'm not like trying to force race down anybody's throat, but making the conscious decision to race swap for each book, and then have the book be what it's supposed to be about, I think adds a layer of thoughtfulness that doesn't really get talked about a lot. Because you don't need to advertise it as like, I have a black main character, I have a Mexican main character, my main character is gay. Nobody gives a fuck. Make a good story and then add in, like, base it around that person, but don't make it the center of the story. If your whole selling point is that my main character is black or my main character likes to swallow dick, like, nobody gives a fuck. Right? Half the world does. Half the world is. Who gives a shit?
You know the movie Moonlight?
I've heard of it.
I didn't know it was a gay story.
Really?
Because I always...
Is it a gay story?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's about this black guy who's exploring his sexuality and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And then he finally finds love from his old childhood best friend.
Oh, wow.
Because I guess he was the only... You have to watch it. It's a good movie.
So I guess it's like A Little Life, but A Little Life is definitely better than that.
But it's a good movie. You have to watch it. You just... If you feel uncomfortable with fucking guys making out, don't watch it.
And I think people should be aware of that too, because as we're starting to get to a point in society where we're accepting more cultures and not forcing it down each other's throats, Hollywood, we're gonna be seeing things that we're not really used to seeing.
Did you know that people fucking threw a fit when Pixar put 2 lesbian characters in their movie?
Yeah.
In the Buzz Lightyear movie?
No, I think it was. Well, I noticed it first with Enchanted, the one with the brothers. They had a lesbian cop, and she was talking about going home to her wife. I didn't even catch it the first run.
No, but in Buzz Lightyear, the movie, the actual movie, there was a lesbian couple making out. Like, it was on screen, and people got
making out or just kissing.
Kissing. And people threw a fit at that, saying you can't show kids these things.
I don't know. That's a whole other debate.
That
at that point, it's like it's more based off of the parents, because if they're coming from a.
But it was like for.
Okay, but think of it like this, right?
Right?
If you're coming from a traditional household, and you're just expecting to show your kids like a regular kids movie about guy in space, and then now they're having all these weird questions about whether or not guys and girls should be together, or if girls and girls can be together, then that it just brings in headaches you didn't want. Like when Katy Perry released the song "I Kissed a Girl," it fucked me up as a kid. Not because I was like, it fucked me up because I was so confused. And I remember asking my mom, I was like, doesn't a girl sing this song? And then she goes, yeah. And then she's like, but she's talking about kissing a girl. And then she goes, yeah, sometimes girls will like each other. And I was like, but I thought they were supposed to like guys. And she's like, well, it's complicated. I can explain it a little bit more when you're older. And I was like,
oh shit, it's my mom.
We'll be right back. So I remember asking my mom about the whole Katy Perry song because I was just so confused. And she kind of just brushed it up to, you're not going to really understand yet, so I'll just explain it to you at another time. And I was like, okay, that's enough for me. But I remember even at that point, because I was like 7, hearing the song on the radio whenever we'd be driving. Like, I would sing it, I would listen to it. It's a good song. But don't play footsies with me. They can't see that far down. They don't need to know what's going on under there. Wait. That sentence did not make sense. I didn't even work overtime today. I'm just this tired. But I remember hearing the song afterwards, and I'm like, no, that's definitely got to be like a dude. That's kind of sounds like a dude's voice. Like, I was trying to change it in my head to make it make sense. And 7-year-olds shouldn't really be thinking about that. So I can understand the perspective of like, hey, this new Buzz Lightyear movie's coming out. I'm going to take my kids to go see it. Right? And then now there's these 2 girls kissing on screen, and your kids are
oh, okay.
And
but
like,
it was a different time back then.
It's a different time back then, but a lot of people, even if they're accepting of gay culture, want to explain it or show it to their kids in their own way.
Yeah,
it would be
okay.
like them throwing sex in a movie.
Okay, yeah.
Because their kids may not know what sex is yet.
Okay.
Right? And I think at the very least, until this becomes more socially accepted, like, it should be mentioned in the censorships. Like, hey, we have gay scenes in this movie. Not to discriminate against it, but if you're a traditional family, this might be something you should consider. That scenes like this might come up, or this might be mentioned. You know? Because some people just, if it catches them by surprise, that could be a pain in the ass, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they're just hating on it because it's gay people, that's a whole other story. It's like, dude, come on. Gay people are fun. I mean, sometimes they could be annoying, just like anybody, but I don't have a problem with gay people, right? The more gay men there are in the world, the easier it is for me in the dating scene. That's all I got to say.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know, man. There's some really hot gay guys out there, right? And I'm like, dude, I am glad you're gay, because if you were on the fucking market, half these chicks would be going after you. So it may, like, for every gay guy in the world, it gives us one more opportunity, you know?
But for every one lesbian, there's
Well,
one less opportunity.
there's always the opportunity to watch.
So comedy's back.
What do you mean by that?
They had the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix.
The roast of Tom Brady?
Yeah, so
He had
you
a roast?
yeah, you know how they had the roast of Justin Bieber, the roast of Donald Trump.
I didn't even know he had a roast.
It just came out. But Netflix let comedians be comedians. You know Tony Hinchcliffe?
No.
He's a comedian. And all in his own segment, he said fag. He said I forgot what else he said. But when he said fag on air, everyone knew that Netflix didn't care.
Yeah. I'm going to leave that in. People don't get offended at us. He has to make a point here. But
like so Tony Hinchcliffe said fag.
well, don't go abusing it now.
No. I'm listing it. That
Okay.
He said that. Then Jeff Ross said that. I think like Brady and the owner of the Patriots had a love affair or some shit like that.
Uh-huh.
Then they made fun of Kim Kardashian for being a whore.
Ooh.
And then they
Please tell. Wait, Kim Kardashian was at the roast?
yeah.
Weird.
She was in attendance.
Oh, okay. Was Pete Davidson there?
Yeah.
Dude, okay, I want to watch it. I want to see if they mention anything about the two.
I think he was there. Then they're all like, Rob, you know who Rob Gronkowski is?
No.
No?
No.
Well, he was Tom Brady's right hand man.
Okay.
He was always his teammate.
Yeah.
And Rob was sitting next to Kevin Hart. And then I forgot what comedian said. He's like, Rob, don't get scared. That's not your shadow. That's Kevin Hart sitting next to you.
They already did a Kevin Hart shadow joke before. Though.
They did?
Yeah. I think it was the roast of Justin Bieber. Somebody said that Kevin Hart looks like Shaq's shadow or something walking around following him.
Oh.
Something like that. But they've said a joke along those lines before.
Well, like they were able to say whatever they wanted.
One thing I appreciate about Netflix is despite a lot of their shitty original shows, despite the fact that sometimes it really feels like they don't give a fuck about what they're producing, despite the fact that 90% of the time they're just fucking woke baiting people into watching their shit by incorporating elements into these movies or shows that does not need to be there, like race switching or fucking advertising it as like a gay lead protagonist or whatever the fuck. Despite the fact that they do a lot of questionable shit, one thing that I really appreciate about Netflix is that they stand on their business and they treat everybody the same because they give comedians a place to be comedians.
Yeah.
Like with Dave Chappelle. You know, Netflix is the same people that's promoting, you know, like transgender rights and woke agendas. And I don't say that negatively. But then they're also the same people that'll allow Dave Chappelle to tell transgender jokes.
Yeah, so
It's kind of like setting the scene. Like, hey, we accept this, but we're also going to make fun of this because now you're in the limelight. We're going to make fun of white people. We're going to make fun of everybody. But you got to get used to being made fun of, you know, if you're going to survive out here in the real world.
do you want to see that Tony Hinchcliffe clip?
Yeah, pass me my phone while you're at it. Do you need to turn on the TV?
Yeah. Or do I show you on here or on there?
You can show me on there and then just send it to me and then I'll put it in the actual episode. Okay.
I'm just gonna screen record it now and then send it to you.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
Specials and winning the Triple Crown at Churchill. Tom is afraid of the Giants, which is why Kevin Hart is hosting tonight. All night, he's been using the stool that Aaron Hernandez kicked out from under himself. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting. Tom Brady is a patriot, which is surprising considering he looks like a Confederate fag. Clearly your ex-wife takes after you. I hear she's out there draining balls right now. People love you, Tom. You have the same fan base as Kyle Rittenhouse. Gronk, I'm happy you could take a break from writing Santa letters to be here today. I knew you were here when we were all out of chocolate milk backstage. You look like the final boss in George Floyd, the video game. Jeff is so Jewish, he only watches football for the coin toss. Nikki has such a bad eating disorder, the industry keeps shoving her down our throat. You might recognize her from her podcast appearances, specials, and winning the Triple Crown at Churchill Downs. You might recognize Kevin as the jockey that rode her, and that's Churchill Downs, the racetrack, not to be confused with what Jeff Ross looks like when he smokes a cigar. Sam J, an obese African-American lesbian, so by having here, Netflix checked off a lot of boxes. Andrew Schultz, I'm glad you took a break from watching YouTube videos on how to dap up black dudes correctly. Schultz's mom is a professional ballroom dancer, which means she's a stripper that talks too much. Bert Kreischer is a king. He looks like the Tiger King and the Liver King only ate Burger King and had a liver that looked like Martin Luther King got beat up by Rodney King. And how about the appearance from the great Ron Burgundy, huh? A whale's vagina, which reminds me, Kim Kardashian's here. She's had a lot of black men celebrate in her end zone. Kim, word of advice, close your legs. You have more public beef than Kendrick and Drake.
Oh, shit.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Netflix.
You gotta get one thing I noticed about Kim Kardashian, because I actually don't know that much about her, but one thing that always struck me about her was, aside from clips that I've seen of her on her show, she always seems to be super fucking cool.
Yeah, like she could take a joke.
Yeah, like I'd be down to meet her.
I mean, the same person who could take a joke could take a dick. So.
Oh my god, dude! You watch one special and he thinks he's a fucking comedian. That was a good one though. That was a fucking good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to take a joke if you could take a dick. You should be able to take a joke if you could take a dick.
So you could take this dick tonight.
No, I'm not that mean. I would be down to meet her. I would like to have her on the show if it ever possible. I'm sure that would be an interesting,
What's wrong?
Nothing. I started thinking things I probably shouldn't think.
What do you think?
Not saying.
Say one thing.
Say
the word.
I do it.
Did you know? You know who Genghis Khan is?
Yeah.
Did you know that they don't know where he's buried?
Did you know that he's like related to 60% of the Asia's population?
Yeah, because he fucked everybody.
Because he fucked everybody. Imagine like being able to say that. Oh fuck! I forgot. Did you message me?
No, but the reason why I say they don't know where he's buried is because 3 sets of groups all attended his funeral. So the first set of group attended his funeral, and then they slaughtered that group.
What?
And then the group that slaughtered that group got slaughtered by a different group. And then the final group that was standing all killed themselves. So nobody knows where he's buried.
What?
Yeah. Nuts, huh?
I've never heard that they had like a slaughter funeral.
So
you don't kill people at a funeral.
So it's Genghis Khan's funeral. He killed everybody.
That's true, I guess.
So the first set of groups who went were like his slaves and his wives.
He made them attend.
And then after the funeral was done, they killed them. Like his army killed them.
Mm-hmm.
And then a different set of another army killed them, and the final army killed themselves.
Fuck.
Yeah, but like it wasn't all in that same tomb. They led the slaves away.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not gonna just deal with all the dead bodies.
So they led the slaves away, like let's say from like here to like where Circle K is at. Then they killed them there, and then the army that killed them went to, I don't fucking know, to a different part, and then they got killed there. So the people who killed them went to a different part of town and then killed themselves.
I'm sure that somebody somewhere saw a group of people leaving or heard that a group of people were leaving, and they just like discredited the information. They're like, whatever, you know, it's Genghis Khan's army. Who gives a shit? They're going to the east. I don't care. What's out there? Mount whatever, the temple of whatever. And then they went about their whole life, died, and they were one of the few people to ever like maybe know.
Yeah, and then
That's
they
crazy to
died.
think about.
And then they died, so literally nobody knows where.
That's really crazy to think about. It's almost. It kind of reminds me of like how they been trying to look for Noah's Ark.
I think they found it.
Well, yeah, they've said they've had reports of people claiming to find it, just like Atlantis, but like everybody's like, it's a maybe with every single case. There is one that I saw that I kind of liked where they found it on like the top of a mountain, and the wood had actually like turned to stone over the thousands of years or whatever. But it would make sense because if the whole world was flooded, the first island they found, it would be the peak of a mountain.
Yeah.
And so like they settled there and then like slowly started to come down the mountain as the water receded. I thought that was pretty cool. I feel like it's one of those things we'll never be able to know. Like we'll never be able to find Genghis Khan's tomb.
Well, if we search hard, I feel like it's like in a place that's.
I'm sure they have an idea of where it could be, but think about it. Like,
no, I feel like it's probably like
Genghis Khan was like 500 years ago.
Was it a little bit more?
Maybe
1,000 years ago.
No,
maybe
I don't think it was 1,000. It was like 500. It was when the Khans were taking over the Khans. Weren't they the Huns? It was the Huns. It's when the Huns were taking over all of Asia and all of Europe, and they were trying to invade China. I'm pretty sure that was like 500 to 600 years ago.
He died in 1227.
1227.
So
800-ish.
Yeah.
No, 1220. Yeah, about 1,000 years ago. You're right.
Yeah.
Good shit, Eddie.
Yeah, high five. Yeah.
What was that? That reminds me of your whole fly incident earlier. Earlier, I came to visit Eddie on my lunch break, and
wow, he lived to be 65. That's fucking old back then.
I saw Eddie attack a fly in the gayest way possible.
First of all, it was a flying ant. Second of all,
it was a flying ant.
Second of all, Devin got scared before I did.
Okay, I got scared because the fucker landed on my hand when I was looking away. So I was like going to grab the door, and I felt something touch my hand, and I instantly kind of reacted, and I looked and I saw a bug, and I freaked out because I didn't know what the fucking bug was. It was big and it had wings, and then the bug flew towards Eddie, and Eddie screamed. And then he went to go grab the fly swatter to kill it. And then it landed on the curtains in the living room. So Eddie ran over to the curtains and he was like, ah. And he hit it like all feminine. He's like, ah.
But I got the motherfucker.
And then he thought he got it. And then he was kind of like looking around and he couldn't see it. And then the bug jumped up again. And he's like, ah. And then he hit it again, even more feminine. He like arched his fucking back and threw his ass out. He was like, ah. And then he hit it. He's like, got the fucker. And I'm like, what are you? Like,
Hey,
what the fuck are you?
I got the motherfucker, but back to Genghis Khan. They said it's generally believed that's near the Mongol sacred mountain of Bertram Kolden.
So they have an idea of where it might be.
Yeah, in the mountains of Kennedy Mountains. I think I said that right.
Yeah, we'll have fun searching the mountains. If I told you right now, there's a tomb of some famous pharaoh from 1,000 years ago on Mount Lemon. Are you going to find it?
Probably.
You know how big Mount Lemon is? Like, not how tall, like how big.
But do you know how good I am at finding stuff, Devin?
Eddie, we're talking about hundreds
Devin.
of acres.
Devin, I know where diamonds are buried in Minecraft.
What level are they buried at, Eddie?
It generally changes. No. We're back to a serious conversation. We're not talking about games here.
You brought this up.
No,
what level? What level are they buried?
No, it's okay.
Everybody knows this.
It's all right. It's all right.
Everybody knows.
It's all right.
What is it?
What is it?
You don't
I
know,
asked you first.
You don't know.
Negative 27.
No. No, it's not, Eddie.
What is it?
No, I'm not telling you. Fucking figure it out, Diamond Finder. Now I know you don't know the secrets.
Okay, let's say there's an
I told them.
I'm gonna watch the episode.
You're sure you will. Just like you watched the last one and
Oh,
the one before that.
I didn't watch it 2 times. The last
Exactly.
two.
You haven't watched it. You haven't listened to an episode in like months.
No, I listened to 70, 71, 72, 73, and then I stopped.
I don't believe you. I really don't believe you because I'll be like, oh yeah, we mentioned this. Devin, I don't know what the fuck we mentioned. I forgot everything. Didn't you listen to it? No, I haven't had a chance. It's all I hear.
The Return. I have an hour 36 left.
Motherfucker, you listen to like 20 minutes of it?
71, an hour 12. 72, an hour 14.
You listening to 5 minutes of the
73, 20 minutes left. And then I didn't listen to 74 or 75.
You really liked 73, huh?
That was Rule 34.
Oh, that was the Rule 34? I thought that was the space one. That was 72.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time keeping up. I can't believe we're already at the 70s.
I know.
And we don't have more fans.
Hey. Did you know that?
I'm just fucking playing.
Did you know Joe Rogan said that it took him 5 years to actually make money from his podcast?
Oh, yeah. It takes a fucking long ass
Yeah.
time. Like the range that I've seen, you know, there's outliers, but for the most part, it takes like 2 to like 5-ish years to really start making money, depending on how you do it and your setup. When Joe Rogan started, it was like really fucking shitty.
Yeah. He opened up. It was shittier than ours.
Oh,
He opened up his webcam from his laptop, and boom, that was the first episode.
Yeah, that was it.
No microphones. Oh, the only microphone was the one that's built into the laptop.
Yeah. Which you got to give him credit for, because even though he had money at that point, he still wasn't going to go spend hundreds of dollars on something that may or may not work out.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's commendable in a way, but I also hate, like, when I see, like, musicians or celebrities, like, going all out on something that they just decided to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make music. And then they go and buy a studio and put it in their house, and then they release one single, and then 3 months later, no more music ever again.
Yeah.
And now they're a gaming channel and they have a huge gaming setup. And
But
it's
I feel like it's a lot of our friends
what do you mean? That need to go all out?
that need to go all out if they want to be something.
I know a couple people like that off the top of my head, but my advice to people, like whenever you're doing something new, is to take it slow
Mm-hmm.
and just start. Like, you're going to be bad. Like, if you go into YouTube, your first videos are going to be bad. Your first, like, 100 videos are probably going to be bad.
You sound like Mr. Beast, but yeah.
Really?
Mr. Beast said that. He's like, your first 10 videos are going to be shit. Your first 100 videos are going to be bad. Your first 500 are going to be you're going to start getting the rhythm of it. And then your first 1,000, that's when you should have a formula.
Damn, first 1,000?
Okay, I may be exaggerating
But,
the
okay, I
numbers.
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it is. And I've seen it. Like, I cannot listen to our original episodes.
No.
Anything before episode 5, because episode 5 is when we got the mics, I can't listen to. Anything before episode 25, that's when we got the audio interface, is hard to listen to. And then everything after I can kind of listen to, but even now with the new mics compared to the old mics, now that I know how to edit, now that we got better setup, it's like the better we get, the worse it is for me to go back and look.
Like, I cannot listen to an episode from, like, let's say episode 40. So, like, from 40 to 70, what are we? 76? 77?
76.
So, from 40 to 76.
Hey, Fallout 76. This episode is dedicated to Fallout 76. They're not sponsoring us, but I like that.
So,
game.
from 40 to 76, I could listen. From 39 to 1, I cannot listen to.
Yeah, it's... I want to, at some point, maybe at the very end of our podcasting career, because I know we established a date between us,
Mm-hmm.
a time frame, but I could actually see us going
A little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
But,
Like an extra, like, 5 years off of whatever we said initially.
yeah.
But I would want to wait until, like, the very, very, very last episode, and then we would react to our first episode.
Can't. We could.
It looks like you're tearing up right now. So imagine we got like
we could do that for episode 100.
No, we gotta save that. We gotta save that because you only get that reaction to that first episode one time.
That's
I've
true.
never re-listened to the first episode. I have not listened to
We
it.
can make callbacks from the first episode.
What do you mean? I know what we talked about to some extent. I can still kind of remember it. I remember we were talking about.
Marvel, that was the first one.
No, that was number 2.
Oh, that was?
Yeah. You really don't remember.
I
And
really
the first
don't.
one, I remember we were talking about Amazon packages being delivered by robots because I think we made a TikTok clip out of it. You like sent me the audio. But aside from that, I haven't heard it. And then
See,
I
like,
know,
even our logo got improved. Look at that shitty ass logo.
fuck you, okay? I made something last minute. We just decided to do this. I didn't exactly have one ready to go. Took us 2 hours to come up with the fucking name, and then now I gotta smack a logo on the name? The fuck? I didn't even know this was a thing 2 hours ago.
Welcome to the first official episode of the Movement Podcast. In this episode, the guys discuss sports legends, the purge happening in real life, the scariest movies of all time, and AI threatening to our way of life.
So nothing's changed.
No, nothing changed. Stay tuned for all the chaos about to ensue.
It's nice to know that, like, almost 2 years later, 75 episodes deep, like, we're still doing the same shit. We look way better now. We got a better setup. We got an audio interface. We're even experimenting with cameras now full time.
We could talk to girls.
We could we could talk to girls.
I think we got a higher rating on Spotify now. We used to be at 4.6, now we're 4.7 out of 5 stars.
Oh wow. If you guys haven't rated us on whatever platform you're listening to, please go give us a rate. Especially if you're at this point in the episode. If you're at this point in the episode, you're like one of the real fans. So please, if you haven't already, because I know most of the goons probably have rated the show, go rate the show. And I know you guys are all on different platforms. For whatever reason, a majority of you are on fucking Apple. So if you're on Apple, just just give us a 5-star real quick. A 3-star. You could be honest. It doesn't matter. Drop a little hey.
I will admit that the Apple podcast looks a lot more cleaner.
It does look cleaner. But I appreciate the way Spotify looks. Because, like, if I update a cover art for Spotify, when I updated cover art, it shows for Spotify. So, like, all the mission logs have the little mission log thing.
Oh, some guy rated us a year ago on Apple Podcast.
What do you say?
The pod is very well put together and topics/conspiracies. The hosts talk about really interesting. Only one critique I have is if you bring up a conspiracy or certain topics, I wish there would have been a little bit more research put into them.
Sorry. We do that sometimes.
And there's 5 ratings on Apple Podcasts, and they all rated the show a 5 out of 5.
I know at least one of those is me, because I did do that. But yeah, I mean, we can see our demographics. We can see how many of you are listening, but our ratings do not reflect that. You know, we were estimating around 200 based off of all the given platforms and all of the reoccurring listeners. But we're only restricted to see numbers specifically from like Spotify. So if you guys haven't already, please.
You know what I wonder?
Shut up. Go rate the show. Give us a thumbs up. Whatever the fuck. Subscribe.
You know what I wonder?
What?
How the fuck did we get from this to Genghis Khan?
How do we get from Genghis Khan to this?
Yeah.
Why do you wonder? And I wonder.
Oh, I was singing the same song.
If you know. Should we start getting ready?
Yeah, we should.
I think it's a good vibe to end on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a chill note.
How much are we at?
I'm not getting up. Oh.
It's going to be blurry.
How did you know I was going to do that? That's how much we're at. It's blurry as fuck.
Yeah. Should we just end it?
End it like that? I mean, like...
Should we just slow it down? Like,
Yeah, we're slowing it down. Okay. You don't have anything you want to add to the... I was going to say to the guests, to the fans, to the goons, to the spoons.
Let me look at my notes.
We're just chilling now at this point. Yeah, let me check my Instagram real quick. You guys get to hang out with us for a sec. You know, and a lot of people have personally reached out to us in the past as we're doing this show. And they've always told us that it kind of feels like they're sitting in the room listening to us talk or they're hanging out with us. Well, we're currently experimenting with video, and I would say that effect is like double now, right? Especially since we're not doing all the camera cuts yet. It kind of feels like they're just chilling, hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Having a conversation. If you're listening to us while you drive, that's a different story. What the fuck is this profile picture?
When was the last time you cried?
What the fuck is this? Sorry. Last time I cried?
Mm-hmm.
Probably like...
It could be happy tears, sad tears, anger tears.
Like a week and a half ago?
Really?
Yeah.
Was it because of a movie?
No.
Oh my God, Devin, don't tell me it's because of... Oh.
I was watching this thing on One Piece.
Okay, never mind.
What were you thinking?
I'll tell you after the podcast.
Oh no. Why would I cry over that? I already said, like, I don't give a fuck.
You're saying?
So I was watching this thing on One Piece, and it just had me going, man. It's such a good fucking show, because they're just talking about like this person's like trauma and their history and like the abuse that they were taking and like this and that and that and that and this. And then I was like, oh man, because I was getting all worked up over it. I was like, that sucks. They went through this. They saw this person die, whatever. They got sick, whatever. Insert trauma here. And the main thing that you see with the story is that all of these broken people will end up finding Luffy, and in some way he helps them, either by directly tying himself into whatever the trauma is and helping them fix it, or showing them that there's like another side of the there's a whole other side of the world that they've never experienced, and showing them like love for the first time, and then that in a way helps them and fixes them. And I was just thinking about it, and I was getting all fucking emotional. I was like, God, this is such a good show. I'm so appreciative and lucky and blessed to be around in the same era as One Piece. Like, I feel bad. I genuinely feel bad for all the people that never, ever got to experience One Piece in their life. Like, they're missing something. Especially you. It's like spreading the word of God, Eddie. Like, you need to experience it. Like, that fool's Zoro, bro.
Okay.
Because here you'd be like, that fool's Zoro.
Okay, if I rewatch the first 10 episodes of One Piece.
I said you're probably like it more reading it because you don't like the way the animation is and the characters. So, like the way they're portrayed on there. So
Right.
I was like, just read it, read the colored manga, and go from there. So fucking... That fool Zoro, you know Zoro's badass. That was the one character you like.
Yeah, the green hairy guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a fucking badass, man. Everybody wants to be him or be with him.
You know who's also badass? It was in that one Demon Slayer movie. I think he had green hair too. But he died. It was in a train.
Oh no, he didn't have green hair. He had red hair. I forgot his fucking name. He was training Tanjiro. Well, I guess he wasn't really training him, but Tanjiro and him had like a bond.
Right.
He got killed by the demon.
Yeah, he was cool.
That was emotional-ish because then in season 2 it ties back into that, or is it season 3? I remember they were bringing it up. I forgot which season. There's also a scene in season 2 season 2 that's fucking badass. It had me jumping out of my seat. Like, I'm not a big Demon Slayer fan, but that shit was sick. Still watch that moment sometimes. All the anime fans get it because they'll probably rewatch anime moments from like their favorite shows where somebody's doing some sick shit. Like when Gon transforms, or like when Sakura calls Naruto during the pain arc, or like there's all kinds of crazy. Like when Goku transforms for the first time. I'm trying to keep it vague so you don't understand.
I'm getting bored.
Okay, my bad. Let me chill out.
You're up here, Devin. For the first time, you're taller than me. No, bring it down.
That kind of just hurt my feelings. For no reason. I'm just hanging out, talking about the shit I love. Goes out of his way to insult me.
Oh man, you
to
got
a public audience.
You got
Not dabbing you up. Fuck you.
Dab me up. Dab me up.
Get out of here with that. Let me sit up.
Okay. Your hand's warm.
I'm warm, or should I say,
Cold blooded.
I'm hot. What? Cold-blooded?
Yeah.
Eddie, what the fuck is wrong with you? How does your mind work?
You know, I think when I die, if I die,
We'll need to study you?
yeah.
I think so too. Why is it that this motherfucker will fight a bear but won't attack a dog?
Why
Won't
is it?
attack a dog.
Why is it that he would beat up 100 Spartans but cannot talk to a girl?
I think that's just more of a guy thing, though. They'd rather, do something crazy than
Yeah.
talk. Because girls scare guys. They even scare me, and I understand them. Girls are just scary, and they're a pain in the ass a lot of times.
Yeah.
Sorry, women, ladies. But you know you are. You're fucking, at least the rational among you, how few they are, will realize that I have a point here. I wanted to make a sexist joke, but I think we're past that.
Yeah.
That was back in the black and white days.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Did you get that?
Yeah, it's
Did you
funny.
get that?
Yeah.
If you think about it, our covers kind of mimic like
A pop
TV
culture, like
TV and film.
yeah,
It's like black and white classic era,
and then
we went into like analog era,
and then we went to the AI era.
and then not AI. Well, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we used AI for our cover.
We
decided mutually that this was gonna be a good idea, and I think it fits within the show's context because, first off, I'll have you know that I am an artist, and if an artist is willing to use an AI instead of paying another artist and stealing their, shut the fuck up. It fits within the show because we talk about it all the time, and it just like
We haven't talked about it for a while.
that's good, and it also reflects our culture currently. So I think it'll age well. Maybe, I don't know. I could just be making up bullshit. I think it came out nice. I like it.
I like it.
It took me, even though it's AI, it took me fucking 3 hours to get that fucking picture.
It's my favorite cover art from ours.
And I like it because it's like, okay, you're right. So it's like classic era, right? We even had more of a jazzy sound in our intro back then, like straight up classic. Then analog was more like boom bap, chill, like whatever, right? And then now we're in like the digital AI era, like the future. And
we all did that on purpose. We knew that.
yeah, we totally planned this. I also like the way we designed it because now we could change the cover at any time because of the issues.
Mhm.
So we're on issue number 3, like a comic. So then we could change it to issue number 4.
Yeah.
We could design the next one to look like an album cover.
With
We
me,
could
you,
design
me,
it-
with me, you, and Juan fucking punching the
Something
can.
like that, We can make it look like an album cover. And then we can make it look like a YouTube thing. I don't know. I'm just bullshit. I'm spitting on it. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for us, folks. I don't really know what else to talk about, and I don't want to keep going on and on and on.
Yeah, my ass is starting to hurt again.
My throat is hurting. So, Eddie's leaving. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. No! Fuck, I dropped my phone. Thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode. We really appreciate you being here. I think the video format is going to stay for a little while. I like the way this looks. We got a better camera. We're just going to see how the editing, uploading process goes because that shit took forever. Until then, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sticking with us. That big conspiracy episode's coming soon. I was thinking next week if you're down. That way you don't even have to plan topics or think of any. I come in and then we just talk about the shit. Wait. Yeah, no, wait. Yeah, next week will work. Okay. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Have a lovely bye.